What's up everyone, Ventrua here with the day 8 update. Yesterday, I spent my entire day farming Sanctum. Yes, I'm back to Sanctum again and I will do it for one more day and then I'm done for a while. And I want to show you the loot from, I think it was about 25 Sanctums, which took me like 10 to 11 hours to run. And then I want to talk about some Sanctum strategies, I guess, or guide. It's not gonna be like a fully fledged out guide, but it's just gonna be talking about the different strats you can take to, improve your Sanctum rewards. So let's get into it. Let's first look at the rewards from yesterday. Let's just say, if you haven't watched the Trial of the Ancestor video from yesterday, you should pause right here and go watch that one before I open the stash, because it's a similar amount of time spent and the stashes look very different. So this is my stash after one day of Sanctum. So let's start explaining why are there divines and ashes on the side when there's also Sanctum stream first. So these 15, I'm not counting it in like overall profit because this is from cooldown recovery balance of terror. I decided to not include it in the main profit, but still want to show it. And these 17 are from Eternal Damnation, which in hardcore is worth a lot, but I understand that in softcore it's not worth much. But you have the advantage of having Sandstorm Visage, which I wasn't able to sell a single one at 2 divines in hardcore, but in softcore they are worth a bit more. So it kinda, counterbalances itself out there. Why is there an Ashes from a full day of Sanctum stream? Oh, good thing you asked. What happened is I dropped the cooldown recovery and action speed temp chains balance of terror, and I traded it with one of my guildmates for an ashes, which, I mean, one, I feel like it was fair trade for me, and two, I might actually use ashes for my next build, but even if I don't, it's still a lot of currency. I don't know if it's gonna sell at 40, but even if we set, like, the number doesn't really matter, right? This is just like the high roll rewards. So let's just look at the actual rewards that have 0 RNG in them, or very little RNG. I guess there's some, but very little. So we got 34 divines, 2 sacred orbs, 15 exalts, 11 annuls, 11 veiled chaos, almost 2,000 chaos orbs, 500 sextants, 1,000 fusings, and a lot of other gum. So you can see that you don't really need these big drops for Sanctum to be extremely profitable, but every now and then you will get a big drop and your profits will spike even more. So how do you exactly farm Sanctum efficiently? Because there's, I would say, 4 main different strats. One of them kind of sucks, but let's talk about all of them. So strat number 1, which is the strat I use, it's a strat where you turn off your brain and you literally make the Sanctum as easy as possible with these relics. Maximum resolve when you kill a boss, or maximum resolve when you use a fountain. I prefer killing a boss a lot more. In my setup, I have 100 resolve on boss kill, and this counts the bosses in middle of the floor, and at the end of the floor for floor 2, it counts both of the bosses. So with this setup, it's pretty hard to fail any Sanctum, period. Especially once you get decent relics. The setups that maximize the rewards per Sanctum are a bit different though. So one of them uses additional room is revealed in Sanctum map, or 2 additional rooms are revealed in Sanctum map, which is extremely good for scouting for divines. The problem is, apparently these relics in softcore are extremely expensive. Like, I was told that 2 additional rooms revealed are like 15 divines. So if you ever wanna do the strat, you better be ready to commit to Sanctum for a while and then resell your relics, right? I would probably not go for that setup in hardcore, because if there's an accident and you die, you lose all the relics. It would be a great loss. But also, I don't think there's ever gonna be enough relics available because they seem quite rare. The budget option for this is a little different. It's relics that have the line of merchant having an additional choice. So what you can do is you can stack these and always try to buy a scrying crystal on a merchant. Scrying Crystal allows you to see 3 steps ahead of you instead of 2. And that also greatly increases the chance for your rebound. This is basically like the permanent setup of revealed rooms, but it honestly is not bad at all. If you feel like you don't need the maximum result from the other relics, it's very solid. The third strat is one that I would probably use mostly in SSF, but depending on the price of relics, this could be good in Trade League as well. So this drops quantity of relics, which, we just talked about how relics can be expensive and whatnot. But the main part about this relic is it actually gives you a chance to drop 2 unique relics on Lycia. This says this is tier 2. I haven't actually seen a higher roll than 20%, but I would assume maybe it goes to 25. I don't know. But you could basically get close to guaranteed 2 unique relics per Lycia. So if you wanna, depending on the prices of unique relics, this could actually be pretty good, and it could be more consistent income than trying to high roll for divines. It depends purely on the unique relic prices. But I think it's way, way stronger in SSF, where maybe we'll talk about more of the unique relics later. But it allows you to run more Sanctums by default, so it is very, very strong. I think I will try to switch to the setup eventually after I feel like I cannot fail the Sanctums without my maximum result on boss skill, but right now I've been trying to turn my brain off and run Sanctum all day, so I haven't been experimenting with the quantity of relics yet. And the last strat is coin focus strat. I think for this strat you want as high possible chance to drop double coins as possible. And it's only useful for unique relics. The unique relics it's useful for is these 3. Coins are converted to relics. This, I think, is the best one by far of these 3. I'm not sure if I would ever run this in hardcore, but in softcore, as I said, the additional room revealed and probably other relics are quite expensive. So it might be a decent way to make profit as well. And I would assume all the coin related relics is gonna be pretty cheap. So it could be a decent way to start your Sanctum grind, but the problem here is that it forces you into rooms that have coins as rewards, which sometimes can diminish the rewards of your entire Sanctum, mostly the gum rewards, because you wouldn't skip like a divine, obviously, but you will skip 10C here, 20 fuses there, and it might add up over time, so I'm not sure how good it actually is. Experience Relic, I think this one is completely worthless. If you want XP, just do something else, man. Like, Sanctum is decent XP. I've leveled my character to 97.5 with basically only Sanctum from like level 88 or something. But like, you're not hurting your rewards for a little bit of extra XP. There's no way. So this relic, probably just leave on the ground, man. And lastly, coins are converted to tainted currency. I haven't run them myself, but I've seen some rewards around 5k coins, and it doesn't seem amazing. It doesn't seem good at all. It's just a lot of tainted whetstones, chromes, scraps, maybe the occasional jeweler, maybe 1 fuse. I don't think this is better than the other unique relics, because I forgot to mention this. You can only have 1 unique relic at a time, and I don't think this is the relic I would consider running. Maybe in SSF it's good. In SSF it's probably pretty good if you don't want to farm beyond. Same for this one. This one is really, really good in SSF to get like a basic relic pool too. So I feel like these first crests are mostly SSF relics. I probably would not recommend running them in Trade League. Speaking of SSF relics, these 2 also work really well in SSF. What they do is they make Sanctum a little harder, but they give you an extra tome when you finish the Sanctum. So the Night Lamp gives you 1 extra tome. Basically, you get back the tome you used to run the Sanctum. And the downside is very mild. I've actually run these tomes sometimes, or these lamps sometimes, because I don't feel like the downside does enough for you to ever fail Sanctum unless your character is very undergeared. So it's just an extra, I don't know, 25C or whatever a tome cost is currently. It's fine. It's decent. And in SSF, it gives you an extra Sanctum, which is insane. The broken sensor, however, is... It's good for SSF, again. Gives you 2 extra Forbidden Tomes, but the downside is too heavy for Trade League, in my opinion. Because rooms are unknown will lose you more currency than getting 2 tomes will ever... Like, buying 2 tomes would cost, right? So I would highly advise against never running this Relic. It's just not worth your time, honestly. Unless you are SSF. So probably just skip this Relic. The Hour of Divinity duplicates up to 2 random offer rewards upon defeating a Herald of the Scourge. So what you have to do is you never take a reward that's end of floor 4 or end of Sanctum. And you try to fish for Divines to get them duplicated. It's decent, but the cannot have boon downside is pretty big, and you lose out on a lot of gum currency on the way, chaos, sextants, and whatnot. I don't think this relic is worth running, but I haven't done enough testing to make sure. The problem is when you don't get divines, you feel like you wasted your time running this relic, and just not having boons makes the run way less fun. So I would probably advise against running our Divinity. His bigger brother, the Gilded Chalice, is okay though. So you cannot recover Resolve, which makes Sanctums a lot harder. But with maximum Resolve on boss skill, you can, you know, go around that downside and still gain Resolve. So it's still very runnable. It duplicates 4 random offer rewards. So you can choose like 16 Sextants, you know, 14 Chaos, and still fish for your Divines. I think this relic is way better than the Hour of Divinity, but both me and Ben had a problem yesterday where this relic didn't duplicate all of our rewards. So sometimes your rewards might not get duplicated if you are using an affliction that says reduce effect of non-unique relics. And yes, it shouldn't be reduced by that, but you know, GGG coding and whatnot. So if you are running Gilded Chalice or the other one, make sure to not pick that up. There's a 50% reduced effect, I think, and then there is one that completely negates your relics. You have to avoid both of them if you actually want to profit from these duplications at the end. And lastly, we have unique relics. So we have a Blood of Innocence that guarantees Balance of Terror drop. I always run these. They are fun to run. Balance of Terrors are fun to ID. It's a little bit of Gamba, but not too bad. It doesn't make the Sanctum any harder, except the last boss, which if you have a good build doesn't matter. I run those. If you want to sell them, it's up to you. I mean, it's like selling un-ID'd Watcher Size. I would never do it, but I understand why people do it. They just want the steady income. Sandstorm Visage relic is it has again the downside of not being able to see rooms, which decreases your overall profit of the Sanctum, but as far as I know, in softcore, Sandstorm Visages are actually still expensive enough that this relic is worth running. And in hardcore, I stopped running this relic completely because I think I cannot sell the Sandstorm Visage for enough compared to how much you lose for the unknown rooms in the Sanctum. There is 2 more unique relics. One is the Power and the Promise that guarantees Eternal Damnation. Cannot have Inspiration, cannot recover Resolve. Again, this can be cheesed very much with the maximum Resolve on boss skill, and that makes it very easy. I think these are not worth running in softcore though. As far as I heard, they are like legit. I think you guys have Eternal Damnation at like 2C or something, I don't know. But probably not worth bothering with. I mean, it doesn't add any extra value to the Sanctum while making it more difficult. But in hardcore, you know, the story is completely different. Or amulets are really, really expensive. And last but not least, there's the original scripture. I mean, listen, if you are running these, you don't need my advice. And if you need my advice, you should sell this to whoever doesn't need it. It's the Original Sin no hit run. I haven't even finished my one myself in Sanctum, and it got a little harder to seek too with the Sanctum changes, but I've seen a lot of them completed in softcore, and the price of Original Sin is way lower than I actually expected, so maybe it's not too bad. I haven't seen a single original scripture pop up in hardcore though, so we'll see if we ever get one in here. But that's about it for all the relics, all the Sanctum Strats and whatnot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and otherwise I will see you next time. Bye bye everyone.